Hey guys, this is GaijinAnime, and previously I've talked about some of the problems of the anime industry, in my personal opinion of course. And of course the logical question would then be, if I see so many problems with the anime industry, why do I still watch anime and why do I like it? What's so great about it? And yeah, the answer to this is probably different for pretty much everybody, but I think a few reasons are probably shared by, well, a vast majority of the anime fans across the world probably. So in the following I'll present 5 major arguments why, despite all the shortcomings, all the issues, all the, superficial stuff that I've discussed previously, anime is probably still the best thing since sliced bread. Okay, so argument number 1. And this is probably the one big elephant in the room reason why people watch and like anime. But for some reason people don't really talk so much about it. I don't really know why. And the argument is anime is beautiful. It just looks nice. The characters look nice, beautiful, cool, call it whatever. The backgrounds look nice, really well drawn, the animation looks nice, and so on and so on. And the point is that it gets more beautiful over time, in contrast to, some other things which do not necessarily get more beautiful over time. Some people may argue with this, but to be honest, usually it's either people who have not really seen a lot of anime, or it's people who have only seen a lot of, old anime from the 80s or 90s, and never really updated their picture of anime internally. Or it's people who have only seen a glimpse of anime in the shape of, those really famous shonen series like Naruto or Pokemon, or I don't know, Beyblade or whatever, which all have like 1,000 episodes and are really tailored for reducing the cost per unit of airtime, rather than improving the quality of the individual frame. And this is a really big difference. So when I say something like, yeah, anime is beautiful, and people come to me, yeah, but I saw Naruto on TV and it looked like shit. Come on, man, it's a poor argument. It's like saying, almost like if I say, okay, some sports cars are super beautiful and cool and whatever, and people come to me, yeah, but I saw a 1950 Ford Mustang or whatever, didn't know if it existed back then, and it was ugly. I mean, it's not a real argument, it just shows that you don't really understand what you're talking about. But yeah, my point was that for the really long running shonen, like, this Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, whatever, being beautiful or looking good is not even the major goal for the respective niche, because, well, their target audience is kids and young teenagers, and they just need to be more or less appealing to them, and that's usually just achieved with characters and an interesting story development. That's it. I mean, that audience, it doesn't care how beautiful the backgrounds are. Totally doesn't matter for them. But again, when even this type of anime goes beyond the typical afternoon TV show and, for example, has a major movie release which has to attract a nationwide or even worldwide in some cases adult audience, like for example with Naruto the Last movie, which looked like this, for example, you kind of notice that the beauty of the individual frame goes very much up. And of course, all the more serious fans, pretty much most of the people I know, usually don't even argue with this point, because it's self-understanding and because they've seen a ton of high-end series or OVAs like Seinen, Josei, whatever, where the frame quality is vastly higher, and the character designers and key animators have a lot more budget to to draw the keyframes really, really well. And I mean, the ultimate is probably Shinkai Makoto's stuff, which is just awesomely beautiful. Here you go with a couple frames from his movies. And of course, there are also thousands of very beautiful character designs from other series, such as, for example, Trinity Blood, Guilty Crown, Chihayafuru, Hyouka, or Fate Zero. All have very nice character designs. And this more or less directly translates to animation. Animation in, you know, run-of-the-mill, cheap, airtime shonen series is usually pretty much crappy. But when it is a key objective, things get really different, and you get something like Haikyuu opening for Fly. The animation there is just awesomely beautiful. Very, very well done. You could just watch it over and over. And also, when I was saying that it gets more beautiful over time, that's exactly what I meant. I mean, I've been watching anime for more than 20 years now, and the 80s and early 90s anime, it felt really great at the time. It felt, you know, something like Tenchi or Sailor Moon or whatever in the mid 90s, or El Hazard, which is, by the way, still looks good today. But a lot of the series that were really awesome then, they just kind of feel a little bit dated and dusty today, because the standard has moved on, the technical level has moved on quite a lot. And on a technical scale, the anime even from the late 90s, it absolutely does not compare to well, to modern full HD computer assisted super detailed near perfection in the more high budget series by the big studios. Though there is a slight footnote here, that is that as things go more into 3D animation, especially for characters, the beauty sometimes gets lost, and I think this is a problem. I mean, I have mixed feelings about this, because the 3D characters, they often feel kind of dead. They don't really have that kind of warmth that you had with the 2D character designs, especially the really well-made ones. But it's a separate point, and maybe I'll make a separate video on this. But anyway, perhaps some younger viewers don't see it as such, but basically that's because they're spoiled. They're spoiled by the absolutely omnipresent, ubiquitous beauty of modern series. Except the cheap end of the spectrum. But it's kind of it's a luxury. It's decadence. It's compared to what we had just 15 years ago. Today we have complete luxury in terms of beauty and technical level of the average anime, at least in my opinion. So yeah, that's it for the first point that I wanted to make.